Never leave a Brewers game hungry. In fact, you might be filled up by the time you walk through the turnstiles. We got the middle game of this three-game weekend series from inside Miller Park. A beautiful day. It's the Marlins and the Milwaukee Brewers. Good afternoon. Welcome inside. Happy you're with us as always. Aaron Goldsmith alongside Mark Sweeney. And Mark, in a season of home runs all around Major League Baseball, everyone is hitting them over the fence. The Marlins already have 3 players who are either nearing 20 home runs or have already surpassed that number.
Aaron, both of these teams today offensively rely on the home run, but it really starts with a showstopper. Giancarlo Stanton, obviously since 2010, he has put on a show, and when he swings the bat, he squares it up. If he squares it up, it's going out. It doesn't matter because he has that type of power. I believe he's the best power hitter in the game of baseball. But the 3 of them combined for 59 home runs. Marcell Ozuna is pushing for his second All-Star game, and he is doing it with the long ball. And Justin Bour, what a compliment he has been from the left side with the 2 right-handed power hitters. They do it with the home run.
Yeah, Bour nationally very much under the radar, but we will see plenty of pop, especially at the top of this Marlins order. When you talk home runs this year, you have to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. Only the Astros have more home runs. Now they have got a ton of strikeouts to go along with it, but for a feel-good story around the majors this season, the first place Milwaukee Brewers by 2 games, you have to talk about the home run ball.
Well, why they are in first place, because of the home run ball, and they continue to do it up and down the order. Travis Shaw, what a story he has been. But the last 5 games, they have put on a show in Cincinnati on the road, and then he's come home and really have done a really nice job with the home run ball. VR had 2 home runs coming off the disabled list, and last night, Stephen Vogt, 2 home runs in his debut here at Miller Park.
Well, speaking of one of those home run hitters, good news for the Brewers as Ryan Braun, as expected, back in the lineup today, recently coming off the disabled list for the 2nd time because of the same calf injury. So Braun is in left field and in the starting lineup today. And the same story for Eric Thames, the great story of April around the major leagues. 20 home runs this season. You can see where he ranks in the National League in the top 5. Thames giving 2 mental days off has really had a hard time as of late. A much different Eric Thames than what we saw back in April and even the early days of May. So we'll see what Eric Thames has in store for us here this afternoon after 48 hours of rest. Now, Don Mattingly in his 2nd season at the helm of the Marlins, the former great Yankee, 5 years in Los Angeles. You can see what the Marlins have done offensively this year. This is a team that hits for a pretty good average. They do not walk much. They do not strike out a lot either. But overall this season, the Marlins have very much relied at times on the home run ball. We'll take a look at the starting lineup for Don Mattingly. As usual, D. Gordon leading things off. Giancarlo Stanton, last 5 weeks or so, a lot of production out of the number 2 spot in the order. And we'll have a chance to see one of the best offensive catchers in the game so far this season. JT Realmuto leading the major leagues in hits by any catcher. And of course, we've already touched on what Stanton has done with the 21 home runs so far this year. Up on the mound today for the Milwaukee Brewers, a young right-hander, 24 years old, Zach Davies.
11 wins last year. This year, you see the 8-4 record. He's a control artist. Last time out against the Atlanta Braves, pitched 7 strong innings. Didn't have a strikeout, but pitched very effectively. Watch the first inning. That's where most of the problems have come for Zach Davies.
How about we take a look at the defense behind Davies today? Now, Stephen Vogt, a recent claim after being designated for assignment by the Oakland A's. Vogt is starting once again behind home. As we also have a good face, Jonathan VR, who has been on the disabled list this year. VR is at second base in the lineup today. And we are underway. Some day baseball from Milwaukee. Very pleasant time of year to be here inside of Miller Park. The roof, however, is closed. Maybe some rain coming later today, but the panels are open, so some nice breeze coming through the yard. 2-0 to D. Gordon. Gordon hitting nearly 300 against right-handers this year. Fights this one off. Over to Arcia. Routine out number 1 to get things going. Now behind home plate, Cowboy Joe West, the crew chief, in his 40th year, recently umpired his 5,000th game, one of only 3 in the game to ever do so. Mark, his first game as a major league umpire was at the ripe age of 23 years old.
Pretty incredible. And I think this strike zone, which he's known for a smaller strike zone, is going to affect this game. And I say in a good way. I think the hitters know that they have to hit the ball out of the ballpark. They're looking for that strike zone to benefit them today.
1 up, 1 down. Here is Stanton. Brewers have the shift on for him. We had a really interesting conversation this morning with Don Mattingly about Stanton batting in the number 2 spot and the pressure it puts on the opposing pitcher, especially when D. Gordon reaches base.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. Obviously, you think of the speed that D. Gordon has and influencing what type of pitch, maybe more fastballs when it comes to it. But Don Mattingly said it's when you turn the lineup around, and obviously having left-handers that are able to influence the decisions on the opposition. Giancarlo Stanton's going to get in more hitting counts in hitting situations to drive runs in.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Marlins coming off their first winning month of the season. They are on a bit of a grind to finish up the first half, the early days of a 10-game road trip taking us to the All-Star break. A road trip that will end in San Francisco. So the longest flight possible back home to get back to the All-Star festivities for Don Mattingly and the Marlins. The 3-2 from Davies. A 1-out walk. Well, Mark, how about you tell us about your keys to the game, sponsored by Ford?
Well, we touched on the home run prowess of the Marlins, and they also have run producing guys in the middle of the order, 50 RBIs or more. And for the Brewers, they are bashing up and down the order, and you see Ryan Braun fresh off the disabled list. Got to sit last night, but also getting the start today.
Looking at his home run totals there in the back pocket, maybe.
Probably the scouting report.
See what he's up to. 1 out, 1 on for Yelich. A moment ago you mentioned a tighter strike zone with Joe West, and for Davies, this is a guy who has really cut down on his walks recently. Very much a command pitcher, and throwing strikes is obviously critical for any pitcher, but especially for a guy whose average fastball is about 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, and he lives down in the strike zone, obviously, because of the velocity. And he has to create different angles, different ways to be able to induce weak contact. Zach Davies knows that he has to change speeds. The curveball has been improved, but he loves his changeup to left-handed hitters.
Davies coming off his best start of the year. 7 scoreless innings. That was on the road in Atlanta. Yelich ahead 2-1.
Aaron, the repertoire today, we talked about the curveball, the changeup. He does cut the fastball a little bit, and also trying to work both sides of the plate with that fastball.
Look at his skipper, Craig Counsell. Two balls and 2 strikes to Yelich, having a productive season, but this is not the same Yelich that we saw last year when a Silver Slugger, when he hit nearly 300 and hit over 20 home runs and a ton of doubles.
I really thought he was going to take the next step this year in his development. I think Don Mattingly believes in the young outfielder, but also he's had the shift from left field to center field. There's a mental component to that.
That can impact you at the plate?
I think so. And I think he's just trying to identify himself as a hitter. Does he want to hit for power? Does he want to slash all over the place? I think that's what he should be doing, because he has that flat swing. And Don Mattingly said something interesting last year to me. He said Christian Yelich on his worst day can still get hits. That is a determinant of what you need, especially this day and age where everyone's swinging for the long ball.
Back-to-back 1-out walks. Two on in front of Marcell Ozuna, who is having a monstrous first half of the season.
I think everyone talks about Ozuna as the guy that has stepped up, and he's gone through some mechanical issues that he is dealing with. A lot of it has to do with that front hip. And watch that today, because when that front hip leaves him, everything's not connected. he starts getting exposed to that slider away. You can even see on that take that front foot does the early toe tap, and then he starts stepping in the bucket a little bit. That tells me that I think the Brewers are going to try to expose that a little bit on the outside part of the plate.
The 1-0 evens it up.
We look at the first pitch, and the first toe tap, the early toe tap to try to set himself in line, and then he steps away, and you can see the take. Yes, it's out of the strike zone, but you got to stay in there. If he is hitting the ball to right center, everything else is easier.
Now, Davies has not been a guy who at times has gotten a lot of swings and misses. Gets a good one there.
That was good arm speed. Looked like a changeup the last pitch.
Marlins threatening right away here in the first. Back-to-back walks with 1 out. You can see through the end of June this year compared to last, the average is about the same. The home runs have increased, more men on the base paths as well. The 2-2 on the way. Strike 3 called. First strikeout today for Davies. That's a big one.
Well, it looked like he was pitching backwards, and after the 2 consecutive changeups, you see the fastball on the outside part of the plate. Stephen Vogt sticking that on the outside very nicely.
Two outs, 2 on for Justin Bour. On pace for a career high in home runs and also runs batted in.
Well, Aaron, this is the matchup that I wanted to see today, because coming in 3 for 8 against Davies with a home run and a double. He's going to have to handle and probably stay off that changeup. We've seen a couple good ones already early in this game. Justin Bour wants to change the game with 1 swing.
Already 18 home runs. Very extreme shift the Brewers have on for Bour. Shaw the only man on the left side. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bour. And he gets ahead. For the Marlins this year, it's been a tough time on the road. They've dropped 5 of their last 6 away from Marlins Park. In fact, they are 8 games under 500 on the road this year. They are playing exactly 500 ball at home. 3-1.
He's really having a tough time. Davies is from that glove side, and you'll see that arm side. He's had the ball called off the plate, but you can see the ratio this inning.
And how many strikes? Now for Davies, 2 walks or fewer each of his last 9 starts. He's already walked 2 here today. Or a crack to the gap in right center field. Stanton coming around third to score. Yelich galloping home as well. Bour gets ahead in the count and makes Davies pay. With 2 outs, the Marlins take an early 2-0 lead.
So many people talk about a different sound off the bat. Justin Bour has that different sound. Laying the barrel on this. That's impressive. You can see just getting into a good hitting count and capitalizing, and runners in scoring position really is the key if you're thinking about that Marlins offense.
Two-out, 2-run double. That brings up Prado, who had, for the most part, yesterday off. Came off the bench late. He stares at strike one. Prado activated off the disabled list last Friday, dealing with a hamstring injury. You remember, he missed time to begin the season, injured that hamstring originally in the WBC. On the ground of VR, flattens out for him, and that ends the top of the first, but damage done by the Marlins and Justin Bour, who drives in a couple. Marlins have an early 2-0 lead. Two runs, a two-run double with 2 outs in the top of the first. As we go to the home half, Jonathan VR will lead things off for the Brewers. Take a look at the rest of the Brewers lineup today. Eric Thames back in the lineup as well after 2 mental days off. Ryan Braun, Travis Shaw already career best 17 home runs. Stephen Vogt playing in back-to-back days, and then Broxton and Arcia at the bottom of the order for Davies. Now Tom Kohler back in the major leagues with the Marlins, recalled from AAA New Orleans as part of Miami's opening day rotation, but some struggles both on the field and also with health, sending him down to the minors and also forcing him to miss some time. Shoulder bursitis, but 3 strong starts in AAA recently, helping to bring his recall to the majors.
Now, probably got his best birthday present, which he turned 31 2 days ago. Made his major league debut against these Milwaukee Brewers in 2012. When talking to Don Mattingly, the manager of the Marlins, they want him to be a little more aggressive, and that means maybe pitching in a little bit more, pitching to contact, because he nibbles at times, and that fastball command really sets up all of his other stuff, the curveball, the slider, and the changeup.
Is 1-2 to VR. Now Kohler, some really great struggles at the beginning of the season. 8 starts for the Marlins, an ERA just north of 7, making his first big league start today since the middle point in May. D. Gordon handles this deep, whips a toss on to first, and VR is on number 1. Take a look at the defense behind Kohler. Well, you mentioned Yelich earlier. He can cover a ton of ground at center field. Has changed positions going to center field this year. We just saw Gordon. Riddle at shortstop. Prado at third today. Bour over at first base. JT Realmuto, one of the better catchers in the league, both offensively and behind the plate.
I think this is the guy, Aaron, that you want to watch, because a lot of people are starting to talk about Realmuto. in the game of baseball, his consistency, a converted shortstop. But Don Mattingly has glowing remarks about this young man and how he is growing in the game of baseball.
Really beginning to make a name for himself. Here is Thames at the plate with one out, of the bases empty. Thames, after 2 days off, lifts the second pitch over to Yelich. Two quick outs for Kohler as we take a look once again at Craig Counsell. This has been a remarkable story in baseball this year. You look at the National League Central. That title always runs through either Chicago or St. Louis, but maybe not the case this year. 2-game lead in first place for the Brew Crew.
Yeah, and Aaron asked him today, what's your expectations moving forward? Are you surprised at where you're at? And for the questions out there, can they sustain it? He said, listen, we need to get better. I don't think they're as good as where he thinks they should be right now. And that's saying a lot. I think the staff asks a lot about their young talent in the game, but they have continually proved it. And he said, you know what, we've had some tough losses too. We've had to deal with our adversity a little bit, but I think he's done a fabulous job, and he is one of the best stories in the game of baseball.
Braun to right field, right to Stanton. That wingspan helping things out. 9 pitches for Tom Kohler to retire the side in order. Already out of the top of the second here from Milwaukee. JT Realmuto leads it off for the Marlins, looking at strike one. Davies a couple of one-out walks in the first, then the 2-run double off the bat of Justin Bourne.
You see the corners, and they're respecting the speed of Realmuto. Fastest catcher in the game of baseball.
We can thank the good folks at StatCast for actually validating what we have seen with our eyes for a couple of years now.
And you know what? He picks him up and puts it down. Obviously, the very good athlete. Started as a shortstop, as I mentioned earlier. But you wonder, with all the wear and tear a catcher has, if that speed is going to decrease a little bit. It's a taxing position.
Well, that's what happened to Benji Molina.
Man, what happened to his speed?
Down on strikes. First strikeout today for Davies. Beg your pardon, his second.
Well, righty on righty changeup, and we've seen a few of them early in this game. You saw that's a two-seamer, excuse me. Good movement on that.
First pitch to JT Riddle. Listen for ball 1. Riddle hitless in 8 of his last 10 starts. Dropped his average down to 236 on the season. High the opposite way. It's Braun near the warning track. Round number 2. Well, the can't miss event of the summer hits South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star Game, July 11th, only on Fox. It'll be a fun time at Marlins Park.
Wonder if Aaron Judge is going to make it. What do you think? He's been struggling.
What a season for Judge, and he has helped to highlight the storyline of the first half. I think it's probably fair to say around the majors, that is home runs. We talked about it already today, but this is turning out to be the most historic home run season in Major League history.
Yeah, you see every team's trying to adopt it. Obviously, you have to deal with the strikeouts as well. That rate still continues to climb every single year.
Well, Davies a chance for a very quick top of the second.
With Davies, his first inning woes continue with those 2 runs in the first. 17 starts, 18 runs he's allowed, 17 earned on the year.
That last pitch was close enough that all the Brewers players were 1 stride towards the dugout. Only have to wait 1 more pitch. VR handles this smoothly. 10 pitches to get 3 outs. Davies bouncing back nicely at the top of the second. Going further so you can. And by Liberty Mutual, helping drivers worry less. Roof is closed inside Miller Park. Panels are open, however, as the Marlins lead it 2-0. We make our way to the bottom of the second. Brewers winning last night in game 1 of this 3-game series. Travis Shaw due to lead things off for the Brewers in the home second. Shaw has been fantastic this year, already a career best 17 home runs, hitting .291. You can see, Mark, where he ranks among not just National League but Major League third baseman overall.
Well, he's getting opportunity. Boy, would the Red Sox absolutely love to have his bat back in that lineup. But the Brewers doing their groundwork and knowing that Travis Shaw was coming here, getting another opportunity. He has produced a very good first half, as you can see.
To your point, Johnny Peralta is in AAA Pawtucket right now for the Red Sox. A chance to audition what he can do on the hot corner.
Hey, you wonder what's going to happen with the Panda. And he has struggled since coming back. That third base position has been a big void for the Red Sox.
Both injuries and lack of production. Shaw, meanwhile, has blossomed here in Milwaukee. Kohler a 1-2-3 top of the first. His first pitch of the second is inside.
Now, some people might say, what does Travis Shaw do well? Well, he RBI situations, as you can see, 57 RBIs. He's got a perfect approach for that because he'll hit the ball the other way, but also do damage if you make a mistake. Those guys you got to worry about is that they're on the fastball away, but they flipped up that breaking ball and it speeds up their bat a little bit and they take it out of the ballpark. He has that ability.
Now, what gives him that ability that so many guys can't do?
So many guys are looking to pull the baseball. Obviously, now you see we've talked about the home run so much, but this is a consistent approach. That's why he has done much better against left-handers. He stays involved. He put both eyes on the baseball. Open stance.
Swinging away on 3-0, fouls it back.
But he's looking to do damage, but also that approach, Aaron, helps you with 2 strikes. Being able to take the ball the other way when they pitch away and hit it where it's pitched is a nice thing. You don't see that too much up and down major league orders.
Back-to-back Player of the Month award for the Brewers. You can see what he did in the month of June. Kohler's 3-1. It's a leadoff walk. Shaw aboard for Domingo Santana. Speaking of home runs, Santana already career best with 13. Strikeouts have been a problem for the Brewers. They have been a problem for Santana. He has punched out in 15 of his last 34 at-bats. Just behind 0-1.
Well, so many people, the old school mentality, wonder why so many strikeouts. Well, talking to people around baseball, they're not worried about that. An outs and out is really the mentality of that. But they're dealing with it because of the home runs. Greg Counsell knows that's the type of roster they have, plus coupled with inexperience at times. I think throughout baseball, you're not seeing a 2-strike approach that you saw in years past. They're still going for the downs no matter what.
Kohler ahead 0-2. Some pop the opposite way. Stanton at the wall. Stanton cannot make the catch. It's out of his glove. He can't believe it. Domingo Santana has just tied this game up at 2.
Well, it starts off with the 0-2 count. You see the breaking ball, lazy breaking ball in the strike zone. Stanton measures this perfectly off the edge of his glove and into the right field seats. You could see the concentrations there. That was in the glove. Unbelievable. Well, that's the 2-strike approach that we were just talking about. Leave the building.
Strike 1 to Stephen Vogt. Vogt claimed off waivers Sunday after being designated for assignment by the Oakland A's, a team where he twice represented in the All-Star game last 2 seasons, in fact. Numbers down a little bit for Vogt this season. He's become more of a platoon guy with Oakland. And the A's are getting much younger as well.
Well, I know one thing, coming to Milwaukee, which he benefited last night, he's coming into a much better clubhouse, and I mean the actual clubhouse, because Oakland A's not known for their facilities. Now, good facilities here.
Two and two. What a night it was for Stephen Vogt. In last night's contest, he drove in all 3 runs for the Brewers. First player in franchise history with a multi-homer game in his first 3 games with the Brew Crew. and receiving a curtain call after last night's contest. 3 straight men to reach. A walk, a 2-run homer now. An opposite field single by Vogt.
Yeah, slowly becoming the cult hero is Stephen Vogt with the big game last night. Got to remember, this is a 2-time All-Star. Also comes with playoff experience. So you think about the pickup for the Milwaukee Brewers. Doesn't hurt to be a left-handed hitting catcher as well.
Go-ahead run is now at first base for Keon Broxton, the center fielder. It would be challenging to find a player who has been more up and down, who has been on the roller coaster more this season than Broxton. Right now, one of the peaks. Last 19 games hitting over 320. Previous 16, 082. Falls behind 0-2.
I think a lot of it has to do with the swing and miss in the game. And Darnell Coles, the hitting coach for the Brewers, said he's got to individually believe in the process. Has a lot of movement. There's Darnell, successful major leaguer himself, but individually trust that process.
3 pitches, all strikes. For Kohler, a much needed out number 1 here in the bottom of the 2nd.
Well, you see the aggressiveness, especially with 2 strikes. And this is a good breaking ball. That's where he wanted Santana as well, but that's finishing that slider.
One out, 1 on for Arcia. Off the plate for ball 1. Talk about young players for the Brewers. Arcia just 22. Since the day of May the 18th, among shortstops in the major leagues, you can see Arcia has hit for the highest average of them all. Tries to check the swing.
Well, the young talent in the game of baseball at the shortstop position really impresses me. And you can put Arcia's name right there with him, because the glove work matches what he has done offensively as of late.
Now Kohler has gotten 2 strikes on each of the last 4 hitters now. Tired Broxton on the strikeout, but the 2-run homer to Santana, the single by Vogt. This inning began with a leadoff walk to Travis Shaw.
Let's see if he goes to that slider away again.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Brewers are wearing their Cerveceros jerseys today, the 12th annual, honoring Hispanic heritage in baseball. On 3-2 into left field. Vogt gets pushed into second base. Arcia, the 3rd hit, the 4th man to reach here in the home 2nd.
Where it really goes back to Arcia staying off the previous breaking ball. Then he gets a mistake. The curveball elevated again. Stays on this ball long enough to serve it into left field. Good hitting by the young shortstop.
Now Kohler barely broke a sweat in the first, just 9 pitches. He has now thrown 23 pitches to get 1 out here in the 2nd. third. Vogt slides in safe. Arcia into second.
To me, at first glance, looked like a catchable ball. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, D. Gordon has to catch that ball. Those are the things that need to be cleaned up defensively. You can see Vogt trying to be the second fastest in the game.
One out now, 2 in scoring position for Davies. Swing it away. Now you mentioned a catchable ball. That is an error on D. Gordon. Davies 2 for 19 on the season. The bat in his hand. As has been a trend in this inning, Kohler gets 2 strikes against him. Go ahead run for the Brewers is 90 feet from home. That's Vogt. Muto can't hold on to it.
We just saw the middle infield for the Marlins not all the way in. That's because of the speed of Vogt, just trying to get a little bit more versatility defensively.
Davies has never hit a home run in his major league career. Does have 1 extra base hit. That was a double. And 1 RBI to his name as a hitter. Tied to the line. Here comes the throw home. Tag applied. Safe. Brewers take the lead 3-2.
Now this ball was hit off the end of the bat by Davies. Had some odd spin. Take a look at the pitch. You see the slider on the outside part. And when you hit off the end of the bat, you have that odd spin on the baseball. You can see the throw by Board took Real Muto in a bad situation to try to lay that tag on Vogt. Look at the speed demon. Take it off. You got to worry about that front foot elevated, especially with replay these days.
Every once in a while you hear guys talking about, and this is nothing more than just informal baseball talk, about the idea of allowing the foot sliding over the plate, not making contact with it, but hovering over it to count as being safe. Because to your point, it is so difficult to actually keep your foot on the plate and sliding it.
Yeah, I really think that is slowing the game up, especially the replays, because it's so important with that run scoring. So many close plays. But I can see that thought.
3-run inning for the Brewers. 1-1 to VR. Go back to that slide.
Now watch that front foot. As that right leg tucks, the left foot is elevated, and the first part that touches home plate is that right leg. And just barely misses that with the tag.
Arcia at third base. Davies the fielder's choice at first. 7th batter of the inning is VR. Kohler's 1-2. Through the right side. Arcia scores. And the Brewers have hung a 4 spot in their half of the second.
Now, Don Mattingly, the manager of the Marlins, has seen this a lot. See the elevated slider. VR takes advantage of that, slashing it inside in between first and second for an RBI. Good hitting on a mistake pitch. 32 pitches this inning for Kohler.
Only 9 of the first. Here's Thames. Now, Thames was the story in baseball the first month of the season. In fact, if MVP voting happened at the end of April, Thames would have been the guy, and there would not have been necessarily a close second. Thames hit .345 the first month of the season, an OPS of well over 1,200. 11 home runs. This is for a guy who's been out of the majors for 4 years. A season in AAA, 3 years in Korea. 3 enormous seasons in Korea. But had been given the last 2 days off, entering today to clear his head.
Well, how enormous, you say? Averaged 41 home runs in 3 years. I don't care where you're hitting.
You can see what June looked like for Thames. He is 3 for his last 37. That prompted the mental days back to back. Likes this the opposite way, ducks into left field. The bases are loaded for the Brewers. Davies into third, VR to second. Kohler is on the hot seat here in the second inning. He's about to face his 9th batter.
Well, it has a lot to do with the mistakes, whether it's the breaking ball and the fastball elevated. But Thames taking this the other way, keeping his hands inside that baseball. Now you go back to those struggles, Aaron. I really believe it's about the next guy in the order. Protection in the order. Ryan Braun, who's on the disabled list. I'm sure you get better pitches to hit when his presence is in the on-deck circle.
5 grand slams in the career of Ryan Braun. Brewers all-time home run leader. His first plate appearance this year at the Bags Packed.
Hit a laser his first at bat to Stanton and right.
There is still only 1 out. "31 days on the disabled list for Braun, a left calf, returned Tuesday. Second time this year on the disabled list because of that one injury." The 0-1.
Aaron, I think this is when you got to worry about Kohler and where he is mentally. Obviously challenged by being sent down and also coming up here getting another opportunity. Good start to the game, but this inning has gone sideways.
Now, this has been a forever inning so far for Tom Kohler. It began with the leadoff walk, then Santana with 2 strikes, and opposite field homer that was in and then out of the glove of Giancarlo Stanton. Strike 3 called to Braun. A huge punch out for Kohler. Braun not pleased at all.
Well, he's been getting this pitch, especially on that arm side. It looks to me like it's off the plate. Ryan Braun has a gripe, but you go back and seeing what home plate umpire Joe West has been giving to the reaction. Obviously, big part of the game with bases loaded.
Here is Shaw, who began the inning with the walk. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Curveball that flutters outside for ball 1.
I think this would be a huge lift if Kohler can get out with only a 2-run deficit.
Two and 0. Activity starting to stir inside of the Marlins bullpen. Vance Worley. Line drive pulled foul. Bases are loaded with Brewers. Shaw with 17 home runs already this year. Lines this to right field in front of Stanton. Davies scores. Here comes Villar. The throw, the play at the plate. Safe. 2 more runs in.
Well, RBI situations, he's been a machine. Talked about the approach and what he can do. Being able to let this travel a little bit more and lines this into right field. I thought Stanton had a good chance at VR. You see VR on the back end with a nice slide, getting that left hand in.
Davies and VR both in. Thames into second base. Shaw, who's hitting over .310 with runners in scoring position, living up to those numbers there. Swing and a miss from Domingo Santana. A 6-run second. The next pitch for Kohler will be number 55. All of this after a 1-2-3 first. This was earlier this frame. Santana with 2 strikes against him. Stanton had it perfectly judged. All the way into his glove and then out. See what Santana does this at bat with 2 strikes against him. 2 on and 2 outs. And the count levels out. .47 pitches this inning. Muto throwing down to third base. It gets away from Prado. Thames stays put. He'll settle for third.
See Real Muto blocking this baseball, trying to keep it in front. Skips to his right. See Thames reacting early to this play. I thought they had an opportunity with him. Throws on the outside part of the bag.
Prado making for a nice hurdle. Runners on the corners. Now full count. And here it comes. This next pitch will be number 50 for Tom Kohler this inning, making his first major league start since middle of May. Another walk. And Don Mattingly's got to come get him. Vance Worley has been warming up inside the bullpen. You could not find 2 innings more drastically different than the first and the second for Tom Kohler. We've got a pitching change. All Brewers here in the second. The second, he leaves with the bases loaded. You can see his final line.
Now 7 first pitch strikes in that inning, but just couldn't finish a lot of hitters. Plus defensively, not getting any help behind him as well.
Vance Worley, at one point earlier this year, a starter for the Marlins, taking over for some long relief, inheriting the bases full with 2 outs. And facing Stephen Vogt. Vogt, a single and a run scored already in this inning. You can see Vogt having a conversation with Joe West. Two outs, bags packed. Already 6 runs in this inning for the Brewers. No place to put Stephen Vogt. 3-1.
On the way he is swinging the bat, confidence is coming. Looking for one pitch in one spot.
Bases loaded, walk. 7-2 Brewers. Here's Keon Broxton. One of the only 2 outs in this inning for the Brewers. A strikeout back in this second inning. Looking at ball 1. Roof opening here inside of Miller Park. These are the floodgates for the Brewers. Cracked foul, 1-1.
Well, as you can see, that sun is going to be a factor, especially a midday game. Always got to be worried about it if you're an outfielder. See that sun splashed right seats, did some left field with Ozuna. But on day games, especially when the sun's out, it affects you not only in the outfield, but later in the day it affects you at the plate. So this is pretty important for the Brewers to get on top early.
They have scored 7 runs this inning. 8 is their high water mark for a single inning this year. That came back in May against New York. Two and 2. Oh, strike 3 call. I beg your pardon, Joe West. Brewers leave the bases loaded, but they do plenty of damage. It was Domingo Santana who got that 7-run second inning going with an opposite field smash off of Tom Kohler that went in and then out of the glove of Stanton. Meanwhile, for Davies, he reached base, scored a run, drove in a run as well. He's had a long time down after a lengthy second.
Wow. See Davies, he's afforded now to be a little more aggressive with this early lead.
D. Gordon slaps this into right field. Gordon making the turn. Santana's throw, the slide, and he's safe.
Well, it's so fun to watch D. Gordon run the bases. But you take a look at his swing and getting into 2 strikes, that 1-2 count. It's like a curveball out of the hands of Davies, down on the ground. Really good hitting by D. Gordon.
Leadoff double. His 12th this year. Brings up Stanton. Well, no matter what happens today, D. Gordon wins the Sox battle today, doesn't
yes,
he?
Yes, he does. The flash and the flare. You know what? When you're fast, you can wear stuff like that.
And that is strong.
I hit everything.
Hard hit, but foul.
I hit my shoes. I wanted the most vanilla shoes I could possibly have. But when you're fast like that, D. Gordon can wear anything and make it look good. As he did right there.
Just all black spikes for you?
Oh, yeah. Long pants. Don't draw attention to yourself.
Ball and 2 strikes to Stanton. A walk and a run scored back in the first. Remember, the Marlins led this game 2-0 in the first inning, thanks to Justin Bour driving in a pair. Different story now. Broken bat right to Davies. Able to steer Gordon back to second. 1 out.
Oh, shattered the bat of Giancarlo Stanton. You see the cutting action. And Davies, I like this because VR was not ready to get that ball. If he throws it to second base, I don't think he gets D. Gordon. Does a smart thing in getting the out at first. Oh.
Davies working around a leadoff double. First pitch to Yelich is a strike. Mark, you mentioned the cutter for Davies, and I'm not saying that this is the case for Zach Davies, but that is the pitch right now around baseball. What would you guesstimate of the amount of pitchers who say they throw a cutter who actually are not throwing a cutter, but they say that they are because?
Yeah, I think you wonder if it's pressure point, which we talk about Greg Maddux with pressure points of how he threw it, manipulated a baseball. I think that's Zach Davies' cutter. It's a fastball, and you wonder if he manipulates the grip just a little bit to make it have a different action. Most of it's against those left-handed hitters. You can see right there, it has that little bit of cutting action trying to get off the barrel of the bat. Saw the good one against Stanton as well.
Gordon in scoring position, does not take a whole lot to get him home from second. Yelich knows it. 2 outs.
Well, Aaron, there it is, the cutter on both sides of the plate. Finishes Yelich off. You can see him trying to work around that baseball. It's a small little cut, but very effective when you control that pitch.
Back-to-back outs following the Gordon double. Now facing Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna has been able to hit for an incredibly high average while still maintaining elite power. Look at what he has done this year, hitting .313 with 20 homers. Aaron Judge, Joey Votto, the only other 2 in the majors with 20 bombs while hitting over .300. And that is what has made this first half by Aaron Judge so ridiculous. .326 with 27 home runs.
Wow. Making an adjustment, and it is benefiting him, obviously. But his consistency, to your point, Aaron, has been why Aaron Judge is the story of the first half.
See Ozuna talking with Joe West. Joe's had a couple of conversations already today. Joe West, who has worked for 6 of the 10 commissioners in Major League history.
Longevity speaks volumes.
The opposite way and through. D. Gordon pedaling into third. Here comes a throw up the line, and the Marlins get their third run of the day, trying to inch back. It's now 7-3 Milwaukee.
Well, I've seen Ozuna pull off on the baseball a few times, especially when he's ahead of the count. This is a cutter that he stays on nicely. This is the reason why Ozuna is hitting 300. Being able to go the other way. And you have D. Gordon on second base. As you said, Aaron, earlier, that's an easy run scored.
Justin Bour gave the Marlins a 2-0 lead in the first, his second at bat here.
It's just pretty important for the Marlins to answer back. Especially they have that big inning in the second.
With all the shifts that we see every day, no matter what game you're watching, can you be a 300 hitter in the majors this year and only be a pull hitter?
I don't know about that. I think that's where it makes it difficult. If you're just on that right side, if you're a left-handed hitter, I think it makes it very difficult. You can see the defense set up for all of those balls over there. That's the reason why it's changed the game. I think you're just going to see the difference of minor leaguers being able to go the other way and take in consideration there's a lot of hits over there. Guy I remember the most that put on, it didn't matter if you shifted or not, was Tony Gwynn. He hit it through a hole. I think that's really the guy that a lot of people would love to be able to do.
Shaw with the bare hand has no play. Now when you play the shift, you are playing probability. And Justin Bour, a man with 18 home runs, reaches on an infield single.
Well, last at bat, it didn't have the sound that this one had. The changeup going the other way off the end of the bat. Very good changeup, but the defensive shift really influenced this base hit. Those are the chances you're going to have to take.
Speaking of Tony Gwynn, I heard a major league manager say earlier this year when discussing the shift, he brought up Tony Gwynn. He said Tony Gwynn would have hit 400 every year.
Every year. He would have been better. Every scouting report we would do if we were facing Tony Gwynn was throw it down the middle, let him get himself out. Because if you work the edges, he would just hit it through a hole. Had the ability to use that magic wand. Hit the ball all over the place. But to me, that was a commitment that Tony Gwynn made. I think that's going to have to be a choice some hitters make.
One ball and 1 strike to Prado. 1 run already in for the Marlins here in the third. This leadoff double by D. Gordon. Hard hit, smoked out to left field. Braun angling back, it's over his head. Ozuna scoring. Bour trots into third. And Prado slides into second base. So the Marlins really are starting to inch back into this one. It's 7-4 Milwaukee.
Well, I don't think Ryan Braun saw this ball off the bat. You see elevated. Martin Prado drills this into the gap. I thought at first Ryan Braun had this. Then you could see the route. It really indicates he did not see that off the bat. Credit Martin Prado for the swing in that left center gap.
Runners at second and third base now for the Marlins. Here's Real Muto. Looks at ball 1. After the double by Gordon, Davies, 2 pretty quick outs. Stanton and Yelich, no walk in the park. But the last 3 men have reached, all on hits. Now Real Muto in the driver's seat ahead 2-0. A guy batting nearly .330 with runners in scoring position this year. strikeout victim facing Davies in the second. Next pitch will be number 27 this inning for Davies, who is facing the tying run at the plate. Off the plate, 3-1.
Now this has got to be driving Craig Counsell, the manager of the Brewers, crazy. After scoring 7 runs, you want to see your pitcher go out there and attack. He's been nibbling in this inning.
The 3-1. Right to the glove of Arcia, bending down to the cut of the grass. Couple of runs in, 2 men are left. Last 6 on the road. They're having to come from behind today. 2 runs in the first. They had the lead within a 7-run second inning with 13 batters sent to the plate for the Brewers. Has helped to give Milwaukee the lead and has chased Tom Kohler out of the game in the second. Today's starter for the Marlins going just an inning and 2/3. Vance Worley took over for him in the second. He is back out there here in the third. Fires the first pitch, ball 1 to Arcia. Arcia, a red hot month of June. He hit nearly .320. In fact, he has hit better each month of the season. It will take a lot to top June in terms of what he could do in July. Arcia last year a 21-year-old rookie, hit just .219, has been obviously a premier defender with what he can do at shortstop. But the bat has certainly started to come around. Stanton able to hold on to this one. Out number 1 in foul ground. Let's go back to Los Angeles, check in with KB. Kevin, what else is going on around the National League today? Thank you, KB.
You think about Contreras. He was leading off for Joe Madden, and now he's hitting 4th today. Seems like Joe Madden has that feel for the leadoff position. Rizzo goes deep in successive games.
Now Rizzo, the self-proclaimed greatest leadoff hitter in the history of baseball.
Exactly.
Very fun. Inside the bag, Davies. Ozuna digging it out in left field. Davies hunting second base, and he's got his second career extra base hit. They have both been doubles. RBI fielder's choice his last time up. Now a one-out double.
We are seeing everything today. The slow, over-the-top breaking ball. Davies stays right behind that. It's right inside the third base bag. See Prado working off the line with the pitcher up.
One out, a man in scoring position. Here is VR back at the top of the order. Really, there was no place in Houston for Jonathan VR. Look at what they've been able to do with their infield. It is littered with first-round draft picks, batting title leaders in Altuve. As he pops this bunt foul. And last year for VR, hit over 280, hit nearly 20 home runs, and he stole 62 bags to lead the game.
And that was it. The stolen bases really impacted this offense. Now that's setting that bar. But I think the big thing for VR is he's changed positions. Shortstop, third base, and now second base. Mentally, that's challenging at times. Not off to the typical start that he expected. That's why I say setting the bar high is a good thing, but matching that sometimes is very difficult.
$15 steals this year for VR. The Brewers once again among the leaders in stolen bases, leading the league, third in the majors. 1-2. Vance Worley with his 5th team in 8 big league seasons. Worley signing in January with the Nationals, then released at the end of spring training. Signed on with the Marlins shortly thereafter. One out, Davies at second. Now full count to VR. Thames on deck, 1 for 2, dunked a single into left field his last time up. Pitch number 8 coming up in this at bat for VR. Again, the 3-2. Making number 9 coming up. Going home with a souvenir. Nice crowd on hand today. Very, very pleasant day here in Milwaukee. The roof was closed at first pitch. It has since opened. Some organizations put a magic number in terms of pitches in a plate appearance that no matter what the result, it has been a good plate appearance.
Yeah.
Whether that's 7, 8, 9. Seeing VR make really work.
You'll see a lot of managers and also hitting coaches. They'll mark those down, and for successful at bats.
Gordon ranging, throwing across his body, and time at first base. Davies meanwhile survives. He's over to third. 2 outs. Monday Night Hoops is on FS1. Can Allen Iverson get hot and lead Three's Company to victory over Mike Bibby and the Ghost Ballers? That's the big question. The Big Three continues Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1. The first to 60 points wins.
I wonder if they do a Nerf hoop one of Big Three, because I could do the Nerf hoop. Remember old school Nerf hoop? It's the only way I could dunk. They
dunked down the Nerf
those
hoop,
down.
right?
Yeah.
2 outs for Thames. You're not building your self-esteem between the only way you can dunk and the all black spikes.
I can't get up. Well, listen.
It's a self-scouting report.
Vanilla worked, but basketball didn't happen for me. Didn't have those skills. Do you ever play hoops?
Absolutely.
Good shooter, I know. You have a 3-point shot.
You can tell just by
guarantee.
looking.
Yes. It's my scouting report on you. Tell us about it.
Oh, it was okay. That sounds like I was better than you are.
So you would wear black cleats too?
Never.
That's what you're saying.
2 balls and a strike to Thames. Davies the double now at third base. Glad you could join us here again in Milwaukee. Aaron Goldsmith along with Mark Sweeney. You can tell not a great shooter, but this has been a pretty wild game. This has been the commissioner's watching for pace of play. This might not be the one for Commissioner Manfred to study.
If you like offense.
Thames reaching for the second time.
You got a sense that there's going to be more runs scored in this game. I know I'm not.
It's in the air.
It's in the air today. Maybe a Coors Field feel game to it.
All 7 runs for the Brewers coming in the second. Meanwhile, for the Marlins, 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the third. Braun struck out looking with the bases loaded in that second inning, and he was not too pleased with the call. He has runners on the corners. Brewers have now drawn 4 walks. 3 of them in that second. Braun had yesterday off. Craig Counsell saying he's looking to get him at least one more day off before the All-Star break, coming back from the calf injury.
And you know what, Aaron? I think they have a program set with Craig Counsell and trying to keep Ryan Braun on the field as long as he can and not use that disabled list. That has a lot to do with the injuries he's had in the past.
And you look at the bench that the Brewers have this year, it makes it awfully easy, or at least easier, I should say, to give Braun a breather.
Asked him about the bench players, and he said, listen, we don't consider them bench players. They're everyday guys that we have, and they have a lot of depth in their 12 position players. You look at 7 guys have over 230 at bats. I think that really indicates the type of guys that they have stepping in, getting opportunities. Manny Pena, the backup catcher. Stephen Vogt with the 2 home runs last night, excuse me.
Some lift into the corner in right field. Stanton going after it. Foul ball. These first few innings have been pretty busy for Stanton and right.
Such a tough play here at Miller Park down the right field line, because you're going so hard at the baseball and you're trying to slow down. See him trying to slow down just a little bit. That wall doesn't have give to it.
I might give a little bit to Stanton.
Yeah,
but it won't be comfortable.
He's going to put a dent in that wall.
Still 1-2 on Braun. Brewers trying to get some of those runs back that the Marlins scored in the top half of this inning. Davies the 1-out double now at third. Thames drew the walk. 2 outs and 2 on, 2 strikes against Braun. Cuts right through a high pitch at 91. Braun 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts. Brewers lead 2. Managing a very young team. These guys 25 or younger. Corey Knebel, their closer. Domingo Santana, opposite field home run already today, 24 years old. Zach Davies, today's starting pitcher out of Washington, 24. And Josh Hader. Hader 23. Orlando Arcia 23 years old as well. Hader, a very popular pick among the fan base to take over for Chase Anderson in the rotation. Anderson will miss some significant time because of an oblique injury.
Well, stars in the making, especially if you're the shortstop, in my opinion. If that offense matches his defensive ability, you have a star.
You know, when you are in the middle of a rebuild, just ask the Phillies, you're not supposed to be in first place.
And I think that is where Craig Counsell, the manager, is at right now, pushing these guys to another limit. We asked him in our pregame talk, where is this team going moving forward, going into the break, after the break? He said, listen, I think we're underachieving at this point. So pushing this young talent, the youthful Brewers that are getting opportunities at the big leagues and embracing being in first place.
It is warm after all today.
See Miguel Cabrera do that a few times, and the young shortstop.
Hey, when you're in first place, right? One out. Hey, speaking of surprise teams, we'll go back to Los Angeles. KB, what can you fill us in on? All right, thank you, KB. First pitch in play, foul ball.
Yeah, how about Alex Gordon with only 4 home runs on the year, hitting 9th for Ned Yost. But the Kansas City Royals have righted the ship, starting the guys. There's a lot of guys that are free agents, opportunities. AL Central is an interesting division. No one's taking reins of that.
You know, the American League is fascinating as a whole, outside of the Astros. So many teams hovering around 500. It will make the trade deadline. Very interesting. How many National League teams who are out of it will be selling to American League teams?
I agree. And you think about the American League teams. Cleveland is so surprising because obviously they went to the World Series last year, but at home they're 18-21 coming into today. You would think a World Series team would have a home field advantage. It's a strange way of that AL Central and how it's unfolded.
Early waits back. Grounds this. Travis Shaw. 2 outs. Two up, 2 down. We're facing D. Gordon. It has been every other inning, at least so far. That's what we're on pace for Zach Davies. 28 pitches in the first, 10 pitches in the second, another 28 in the third. Has retired the first 2 men here in the fourth. Strike 1 to D. Gordon, who doubled into right field his last time up. Has been very consistent month to month, D. Gordon. I know this is a guy, Mark, that you've had a chance to spend a lot of time with.
Yeah, saw him in the Dodger organization when he was coming up in the minor leagues and was a shortstop back then. Very talented. Obviously the bloodlines with his dad being a former major league pitcher, Tom Gordon. But has that ability to impact the game with his speed. Saw the bunt shown there, even with 2 outs. That's what he has to do for these Marlins. We talked about the middle of the order. They know how to drive runs in, but it starts with D. Gordon, in my opinion.
Off the plate, 1-2. Now, since the start of 2014, only Billy Hamilton has more stolen bases than D. Gordon. '29 steals this year for Gordon. Two outs, nobody on here at the top of the fourth. Gordon hobbled a little bit. Next pitch will be number 7 his direction.
Yeah, this will slow you down just a little bit. And that instep.
For a guy who runs as fast as he does, it would not appear as though there's much padding on the inside of those shoes.
No.
Like fairly lightweight spikes.
He might have a pad on those shoes later on in this game.
Fouls off another pitch. Fourth foul ball with 2 strikes.
He's still trying to get some feeling into that right foot.
The 8th pitch coming. As a hitter, can you feel the frustration for the pitcher when you have a plate appearance like this?
And what it does is it really gives you more confidence because you can see that release point more and more.
Eric Thames, underhand flip, and Davies eventually wins that lengthy battle against Gordon. He retires the side in order. off the inside of his foot as we begin the bottom of the fourth. Travis Shaw begins things for Milwaukee. Shaw, Santana, and Vogt all due up here in the fourth inning. Each of those three reaching twice in the second. Back to D. Gordon.
I see that instep, and it affected everything. He tried so hard to get that feeling back. And the ground ball to the first baseman, obviously not feeling 100%.
I'll give a guy credit for running that one out on a very routine ground ball to end the inning after not having much feeling in that foot probably. The 1-2. Talk about a trade that was won by the Brewers. Unfortunately, it has been won because of injury, but Tyler Thornburg, a very fine reliever for Milwaukee, being traded to the Red Sox out for the year because of injury. Travis Shaw coming to Milwaukee in exchange. Shaw having a career season. Only his second full season. And it was a former Brewer, Aaron Hill, who was acquired late last season by the Red Sox and ended up splitting time with Shaw in Boston. And Shaw was pretty outspoken afterwards, after the year passed, saying that really got to his head a little bit.
Yeah, and I think so, because you don't have those at bats you got in the minor leagues. Remember, they're not platooned too many times in the minor leagues. These are stars that come up to the big leagues.
Stanton not having to move much. One out. Once again, let's go back to Kevin Burkhardt in Los Angeles. KB, what's the latest? Well, congratulations to 23-year-old Jackson Stevens. Big day for him.
Sure, he's got family in the stands. That's a good feeling. You see the NL Central. Chicago Cubs at 500 coming into today. That's shocking to a lot of people.
Santana on 1-0. Domingo Santana reaching for the third time. A walk, an opposite field 2-run homer. Now a single.
Well, see just a little cut fastball inside. Santana does a nice job getting the barrel to the baseball. That 5.5 hole.
1 out, 1 on for Stephen Vogt. A single, a run scored, and a walk. Vogt an All-Star each of the last 2 seasons with Oakland, and he never would have guessed that he would have been in the Midsummer Classic given the way that his career began. Broke into the major leagues back in 2012 with Tampa Bay. He went 0 for 27 playing for Joe Maddon. A lot of hard outs, but still went hitless. Then it went on to Oakland, began his career there 0 for 7. So he began his major league career 0 for his first 34 as he swatched this out towards Yelich. 2 outs. Well, speaking of the All-Star game, tomorrow on ESPN, it's the Esurance All-Star Selection Show. Then on July 9th, it's the SiriusXM All-Star Futures game on MLB Network, followed by the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July the 10th. All leading up the MLB All-Star game July 11th on Fox. Two out, Santana at first. Keon Broxton digging in. Now, Broxton will not be in the home run derby, but he had a home run earlier this year. 489 feet, the longest ever at the New Busch Stadium. Based on your reaction there, it sounds like you saw that.
I did, and it's so impressive. And yes, the raw ability of a lot of these young Brewers. And yes, they have the propensity to strike out, but they have power. If they can corral the strike zone just a little bit more, no telling what they can do in the game of baseball. The future's bright here in Milwaukee.
Brewers are coming off a month where they tied their franchise record for most home runs in any single month, 49 in June. September of 07, the last time they had 49. That was the year Prince Fielder hit 50 home runs. For the third time, Broxton down on strikes. He's been one of these strikeout kings of the majors. A runner left. We're through 4. Giancarlo Stanton looking for his first hit today. Leads off the Marlins 5th. Drifting foul. Shaw, Arcia over to give a look. Strike 1. To go back to 2014 for Stanton, led the league in home runs that year. He walked 94 times. Oh, this is the guy. This is the ice cream guy. Well, that only seems fair, right? This fine gentleman shared a scoop of his soft serve with Orlando Arcia. And by shared, we mean it was stolen. One ball and a 1 strike. By the way, that's the first time I've ever said that's the ice cream guy.
Now he has a title.
He's getting a souvenir out of it. 2 balls and a strike. Surely there's something better we can call him. You cannot tell the story of Stanton without talking about this ballpark. It was in that 2014 season where Stanton was hit in the face by a pitch from Mike Fiers that has resulted in the extender you see off the ear flap. High chopper. Shaw shin high on the run. 1 down. Now back to Mr. Ice Cream. This was earlier. Foul ball. Arcia over to give a look. Oh, maybe it's not the same guy.
Right down the way. 3 people. 3 people down.
And apparently.
I love that. Just to have fun with the fans. It's a baseball town. They love their Brewers.
There's Yelich.
I think Arcia is supposed to give back to the community, but not take from the community.
Yelich 0 for 1, a strikeout looking at a walk. But, you know, getting back to Stanton for a minute, it was after that 2014 season, which, by the way, he stole 14 bases that year. I mean, he was really looking to be one of the premier faces of baseball. Received the enormous contract by the Marlins, 13 years, $325 million. There's been a struggle to stay healthy for Stanton. But he is must-see TV when he is inside the batter's box.
He sure is. And you're not going to the refreshment stand. You want to watch him take a swing. You see the frustrations today. But that is the premier home run hitter. Obviously, Aaron Judge is in the conversation now. Two big guys that know how to swing the bats.
Yelich down on strikes for the second straight at bat. 2 down.
Now you see the cutter, and this has a little more depth to it. A little late break underneath the barrel of Yelich. Davies is settling in.
Facing Ozuna. Opposite field RBI single his last at bat. An all-star last year, chance to be a starter this year in the Midsummer Classic. Davies off towards third base. He has sat down the last 7 in a row. Is sponsored by the Hartford. When the unexpected strikes, then Hartford strikes back with small business insurance. Good look inside Miller Park along the concourse as we make our way to the bottom of the 5th inning. 7-4. Milwaukee has the lead. Watch the greatest names in golf tee off at Salem Country Club for the final round of the U.S. Senior Open tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on your local Fox station, or you can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. 8-9-1 due up for the Brewers. Arcia on the first pitch, a charge out to right center field, gone. Nick Whitgren, welcome to the ball game.
Now first pitch, and he gets a slider. We talked about the talent on the defensive side, but offensively this shortstop has really made some great adjustments in the game. Right center, and good carry to the baseball.
Second home run today for Milwaukee. Entering this afternoon, only the Astros had hit more home runs around the majors than the Brewers. One and two to Davies. You know, the Brewers just a few days ago, which is back on Thursday, hit 6 home runs in Cincinnati. As you can see the numbers on Whitgren this year. Great American Ballpark, the only ballpark that has surrendered more long balls this year than here inside Miller Park.
I think you look at a couple factors. It does travel, especially when it warms up here in the Midwest.
Cued out to Gordon. 1 out.
I think the underlying factor coming into here is the good hitting background. You can see it very well, and right now you see the sun that is on that hitting background, but when you play night games you see the ball so well here. That's a factor in the big leagues. You can see the sun right out there on the hitting eye.
There must have been ballparks that you went into knowing you just don't see the ball well.
Yeah, and that's uncomfortable because it has everything to do with release point, but also picking up spin. In this day and age, with the velocity of these pitchers, especially relievers coming into the game, that gets dangerous if you don't see the ball out of the hands.
Ball and a strike to DR, who hit 2 home runs on Thursday in Cincinnati. His first start since coming off the disabled list with a back injury. Now, Craig Counsell was asked today about home runs around the majors, and his simple response was, yeah, there's something up. There's something going on. Not only are we on pace for the most home runs ever hit in a single season, but the other thing too, Mark, you look at it, we're talking monstrous home runs.
Yeah.
Obviously Aaron Judge is defying the bounds of exit velocity, but he's not the only guy. He's the guy who does it the most consistently.
Well, there's a couple things that raise my eyebrows. Is exactly what you just said, Aaron. The length of some of these home runs. You're seeing guys that are going opposite field, 430, 440 feet.
Santana going the opposite way today.
But also, you're not seeing the bats shatter as much as we have in years past. So it's a combination of maybe the bats are better.
Ties him up.
You know, and also a lot of people are talking about the baseball.
An idea of the idea of a harder baseball.
Yeah, and maybe it's wound a little bit tighter. There's even theories of people saying that the seams on the baseball are not as high, which enables the ball to fly a little bit further. Obviously they're doing studies of that, but the home run ball is obviously evident in the game of baseball.
Eric Thames, a walk his last plate appearance. Before that, a single that snapped an 0 for 14 slide. Craig Counsell telling us today the look of relief in the face of Eric Thames when Counsell told him that he'd get 2 days off.
Yeah, mentally. He asks a lot of himself. You think of a guy that really was intense about every at bat. Paul O'Neill comes to mind for the Yankees. Eric Thames is a perfectionist. You can see him really working his craft even out of the batter's box.
And it sounds like for Thames, as for most hitters, but for Thames in particular, it comes down to pitch selection.
Yeah, you have to stay in the strike zone. I think that's where the league has adjusted to him. Always you hear how quick you can adjust back. The ability's there, obviously. Coming into today, 20 home runs, 40 RBIs.
The 3-1. Well, early on in April, when he was the story of baseball, he cited his 3 years in Korea, the amount of off-speed pitches, breaking pitches that he saw there, helping to refine his approach, helping him stay inside the strike zone, wasn't chasing hardly anything first month of the season.
And you watch it, Aaron. I think a lot of teams are starting to pitch with velocity at the top of the zone, especially to Eric Thames, because of handling that breaking ball.
Stanton closing in it, on it in right field, makes the catch. Thames retired. Arcia, the leadoff home run. We've completed 5. The 6th. First pitch strike to Justin Bour, who is 2 for 2 today. 2-run double, an infield single.
Well, Aaron, right around that 100 pitch mark, it's pretty interesting for Zach Davies. His high on the 17 starts is 103 in Pittsburgh, where he went 6 innings and got the win. That's on May 7th. So that comes into the equation coming into this inning.
Well, Bert Blyleven had the great line earlier this season, the Hall of Fame pitcher with the Twins, when he said, "I am still waiting for a pitcher to burst into flames on the mound after throwing his 100th pitch." But there is something magical about that number.
I think a lot of it from the old school pitchers is how
you call him Bert old school.
I am, because I absolutely loved the way he pitched and the mentality that they had. Pitchers there those days. Now they're coddled a little bit, in my opinion.
So Bert, who had what I believe was 75 complete game losses. Speaking of old school.
Well, he wanted to just take the ball and learned how to pitch and used his curveball and every ability to try to finish the games. Now it's a reliever ball game, in my opinion, when it comes down to 100 pitches. The use of the relievers, and I think the Kansas City Royals had a lot to do with that, with the success that they've had.
Here comes the 2-2. To the point of the shift. PR from the grass in right field, 1 out. First time Bohr has made an out today. That's how we start the top of the 6th. There's Martin Prado. A career .293 hitter. 12 years in the majors. He looks at strike one. Look at the home runs this year for the Marlins. Stanton, Ozuna, Bohr, all at or nearing 20. But overall this year, this has not been a home run hitting team for Don Mattingly. They don't walk much at all. They really don't strike out much either. Shot with the backhand, guarding the line. Long throw. Thames able to stay back on the back. 2 outs. Well, the ground ball outs to begin the top of the 6th. Well, you've talked a lot in this one, Mark, about the cutter for Davies.
Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with it today, and especially against Yelich. You see the punch out right there. Being able to command his pitches. Yes, stake to a lead early in this game. But the 2 cutters on both sides of the plate, being able to manipulate the baseball. And we really saw command the latter part of his start today.
2 outs for Real Muto. Another ground ball. Shaw the pick, the spin, throw in time. 10 in a row, sat down by young Zach Davies. We'll see if Don Mattingly wants to take a look. No challenge here. Davies, a fine finish. Getting a little bit of help. Inside Miller Park. Now, as is customary in between innings here. Now you were guessing, you called chorizo.
I went chorizo today.
We have the sausage relay today.
We had a tough right there.
No.
We have to go to video replay.
This is a problem.
That's a photo finish too,
Yeah,
by the way.
I'm not so sure about chorizo. Ryan Braun. Brought a couple of strikeouts today, looking for his first hit this afternoon. Now towards Stanton. Over Stanton's glove off the wall. Braun's first hit, a double.
Well, Ryan Braun commits to going the other way. You can see has the ability to put any pitch on line. Lined out his first at bat to Stanton, but this one chops in the gap.
You know, last year it was Gary Sanchez for the Yankees who was the young home run hitting phenom for New York. This year Aaron Judge, and you look at guys with 30 home runs in their first 100 games of the big leagues. Those two for the Bombers, the most recent, but before Sanchez, before Judge, it was Ryan Braun.
Yeah. Has the ability to impact a game. He's got to keep him on the field. I think the important thing here, Aaron, is that the Brewers have really learned how to win without Ryan Braun. That's a good thing, because if he's in the lineup, it's a deeper lineup. There's protection involved, but also there's better balance.
Only 6 guys all time to do that. 30 home runs. Your first 100 big league games. Mark McGwire on that list. Braun, of course, as well. Still 0-2 on Shaw. What a first half for Travis Shaw. Has driven in 2 today. Whitgren's 0-2.
When you think about too, Aaron, with Travis Shaw getting opportunities, but also different markets. Coming over here to Milwaukee, maybe he's settled in nicely and feels more comfortable here. The pressures of playing in Boston, that is real when it comes down. I'm not saying he couldn't have done it, but he's settled in here nicely, and hopefully he continues it the second half as well.
Gordon down to his chest, gets himself up quickly. Record the out on Shaw. Fine play by D. Gordon. Braun, who doubled, now in at third.
I commend D. Gordon for staying in the game because of this type of play. Even on the short hop, takes him towards center field, and a really nice defensive effort by D. Gordon.
Foot looks like it's all right. One out, a runner at third base for Domingo Santana. First pitch, infield in. Riddle coming home with the throw, and Braun is cut down at the dish. Braun taken off on contact. 2 outs.
Well, the Marlins traded Adeiny Echeverria. Very good defensive shortstop, but watch this play by Riddle. Down to his knees, and the accuracy on his throw. Real Muto didn't even have to tag him. The tag was already set because of the accuracy of the throw. Nice play by the shortstop.
Two outs for Stephen Vogt. We talked about the youth for the Brewers, a team in first place, bringing a guy like Vogt over after being DFA'd by Oakland. Guy who's been to the postseason, been in a couple of All-Star games. Oh, you almost could say it kind of fell in their lap in that regard.
It did, and I'm pretty surprised that Oakland gave up on him first and foremost, but to the benefit of the Brewers, taking an opportunity at a guy. And I think the biggest trait that you just said is the playoff experience, being able to have those conversations. And he has swung the bat very good in a Brewers uniform, but that's a new lease on life too. He's already been traded, so he's gone through that.
Off the top of Real Muto's glove.
I just think the benefit of the Brewers in their youth being able to have more conversations, even when he's not starting, it's going to be beneficial for this young roster.
And not to say that he is the second coming of Matt Adams. What Adams has done since going over to the Braves. But Vogt now with the first place ball club. A lot of young energy around him. After the wild pitch outside, 2-2.
And as you know, Aaron, you've been around him enough to know that he has a good balance for the game as well. I mean, having fun off the field, enjoying himself, but when it's time to play, he locks it in.
Vogt rung up looking. No, you're right. I don't think you can find a better clubhouse guy in the game than Stephen Vogt. A runner is left as we have completed 6 in Milwaukee. Brewers winning last night, a close one, 3-2 the final. This one has not been so close, at least as of right now. New pitcher up on the mound for the Brew Crew, Josh Hader, made his major league debut in the early days of June. Working in relief now after spending nearly his entire minor league career as a starter. Making only his 7th big league appearance.
He's only given up 1 hit in his 6 appearances, and he has the locks of love out of that hat.
Also in the scouting report,
I'm jealous.
You'd be jealous of a buzz cut.
Yeah, I'm not a hair guy. Man.
This is JT Riddle. This is outside. Well, for folks around Milwaukee who are watching this and were wondering if possibly Hader would be pitching on Monday out of the rotation, his appearance here basically answers that question. Tough loss for the Brewers. Just recently, Chase Anderson on a Wednesday at Cincinnati, suffering an oblique injury on a swing. Anderson, a .289 earned run average on the disabled list for some time to come now.
And that was a success story for the Brewers. Coming out of spring training, remember, Matt Garza was going to be in the rotation. He ends up getting injured, and Chase Anderson goes into that rotation. Arguably was the best pitcher in the first half for these guys.
Leadoff walk to Riddle. And you think about their opening day starter, Junior Guerra, who also injured himself batting. That being said, this is a rotation that you look at the June numbers for the Brewers starters. Only 2 rotations worked more innings. Brewers rotation in the month of June, top 10 in earned run average and whip, an opposing average. Tyler Moore batting in the number 9 spot off the bench. This is strike 1. Line drive. It is a fair ball, barely into left field. Riddle making the turn as he hustles into third base. Braun has to get away from him for just a moment.
I see Moore pulling his hands in nicely. Pinch hitting at bat and being able to drive this ball down the line and keep it fair. You know, on this back end, after Ryan Braun bobbles it, Freddie Gonzalez, the third base coach for the Marlins, does the smart thing. They're behind, and you do not want to run into too many outs. Remember, last night's game got affected by the relay throws in a big situation.
Only second hit allowed by Hader since being called up in the minors. Ball 1 to Gordon. Now, walks have been a little bit of a problem for Hader. We saw the leadoff walk on 4 pitches to Riddle, who's now at third. He's walked now 8 batters in 8 1/3 innings. We're talking about last night's relay.
Yeah, this was a big moment in the game last night. You can see Dietrich, and Keon Broxton affects this play. Why I say that is the effort that he had trying to make that play, but Arcia on the back end throwing a great throw. That would have tied the ball game up last night. Might have factored in Gonzalez's holding the runner in this inning.
Good fastball to make it 1-2. Two in scoring position, nobody out. Remember, D. Gordon had a 9-pitch at bat in the 4th inning his last time up. That was the sequence where he fouled the ball off the inside of his foot, eventually grounded out to end the inning, but 9 pitches. He's also doubled in this game. Riddle at third, Moore at second. The 1-2. Soft pop up into the shadows. Shaw is there. Put it away, out number 1. Here is Stanton. Good conversation out on the mound with Vogt and Hader. Hader, a career minor league earned run average just over 3 1/4. Nearly 100 starts. Didn't make some relief outings. Stanton on the first pitch, pops it foul.
You see Hader being very aggressive with the fastball.
Guy who's been a part of 2 deadline deals back in 2013, the Bud Norris deal, Baltimore and Houston, then from Houston to Milwaukee, part of the Carlos Gomez like Fire's trade. Saws him off right to the mound. This is the second time we have seen Stanton ground out on a busted bat. He's just left with some kindling in his hand.
Oh, we talked about the aggressiveness inside and being able to throw it. That ball doesn't cut, but it has that riding action inside. In the kitchen of Giancarlo Stanton.
Two outs, two on for Yelich, who has struck out each of his last two at bats. I mentioned earlier, Yelich last season 21 home runs, Silver Slugger Award winner. He has not homered since June the 2nd. 7 home runs out the season. Oh, 2. Hader trying to pitch out of a jam following the leadoff walk. Hader's 0-2. Yelich down with it at 96. Hader still has not allowed a run in the majors. Time to stretch. Lead the Marlins 8-4. At one point the Marlins held an early 2-0 lead. That was thanks to Justin Bour. The Marlins also got 2 runs in the third. Martin Prado driving in a run on a double, but Milwaukee a huge 7-run second inning. 6 hits, 13 batters. Marlins pitchers combined to throw nearly 60 pitches, and then of course a couple of home runs. No surprise there for the Brewers. Domingo Santana, an opposite field blast that was in the glove of Giancarlo Stanton, who looked like he had robbed it. It bounced out of his glove and over the fence. And then Orlando Arcia, no cheapie either. He smoked one out to right center field. Junichi Tazawa, the new pitcher for the Marlins, as we open up the last of the 7th. Tazawa spending some time with the disabled list this year. Some rib cartilage inflammation. He has really been roughed up his last few times out. 8 runs his last 4 appearances. Yelich waiting a while for it. Broxton is retired. Tazawa, a longtime mainstay in the Red Sox bullpen. Signed out of Japan by Boston. And nearly 300 relief appearances for Boston over his time there. Joining the Marlins as a free agent. One of the slowest workers in baseball, averaging about 30 seconds between pitches.
And I think that's going to change when you think about the minor league clock, pitch clock. That's a good change when it comes down to just working quickly, being able to have that. Derek Dietrich takes over at second base.
So when you say you think it's going to change, not necessarily for Tazawa, but change
I think
for generations to come.
Yeah, it's the guys that are coming up from the minor leagues that are used to working quickly, to be able to be at the big league level and ask somebody to work much quicker. I think that takes them out of their element, and hopefully we see it, because those are uncomfortable for the hitters, the guys that do work quickly. Mark Burley's of the world.
The 0-2. Arcia made this an 8-4 game in the 5th inning with his 7th home run this season. Inside. We go back to that 5th. What a way to start things. First pitch of the inning, no less.
I love that emotion in the dugout. It's when you know things are going well. You go through the gauntlet of forearm shivers. I just love the emotion of it too, and it's been created by the success in the first half. These guys are going through it, and it's genuine emotion. You don't see that a lot in the big leagues anymore. Very stoic in most of the dugouts.
Is that a natural byproduct of a young team?
I do. I think it is. You create that in the locker room, and it transfers onto the field. Guys that have a lot of fun, and talking to Craig Counsell about it, these guys have come from a lot of different organizations. They haven't come up from the minor leagues together. So this is created by what they feel and success on the field. Obviously winning helps this. What you're talking about, Aaron, when they go through tough losses, it's easier to bounce back. They just enjoy playing the game together. So it's time to turn the page, and if you can have that ability moving forward, I think this team is real when it comes to taking on those opportunities. Bullpen always has chemistry, and now these guys that are getting playing time, hey, it's my opportunity. Go out there and cheer on your teammates for what they're doing.
Into the gap in right center field. Yelich having to play it on a bounce. Arcia, a 3-hit day, and 2 of them the opposite way.
Well, fastball away. That's actually off the plate. Watch how he goes and gets it. Full extension to be able to handle that. Maybe off the end of the bat. Has that tailing action away from Yelich.
Hernan Perez will bat here in the pitcher spot for Davies. Davies a nice day with the bat in his hand, and RBI, also a double. Mentioned the last 2 hits the opposite way for Arcia. That is a pretty even straight chart.
Well, you're not going to be shifted on too many times, and they're going to take some opportunities, but that's maturing, in my opinion, being able to hit the ball where it's pitched.
Good harpoon stab there by Riddle. 2 outs. Riddle's had a couple of nice plays today at short. 2 outs. Arcia at first. Here is Jonathan Villar for the 5th time today. He looks at strike 1. Brewers are coming off a road trip where they went just 2-4 against a couple of teams that probably would have liked to have a couple of more wins against, the Braves and the Reds. Look at those games, though. The losses, 4 losses in those 6 games, each by 2 runs or fewer. This is a Brewers team that, among division leaders around the game, the lowest run differential by far, but they hold a 2-game cushion for first place in the National League Central entering today. The 0-2. Villar down on strikes for the 2nd time today. Arcia is stranded. 7 innings in the books. We'll see Marcell Ozuna soon. Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. Beautiful day here in Milwaukee. The roof is open. Brewers leading the Marlins 8-4. New pitcher up on the mound in back of Josh Hader is Jared Hughes taking over for the Brewers.
34th game for the big right-hander, and loves his 2-seam fastball. Heavy percentage and also a slider to go along with it.
Ozuna on the first pitch. Arcia charging. What a nifty throw to get Ozuna. It's not that easy, is it?
No. is for him. The talent that this young man has, and has a love for the game, much like Francisco Lindor for the Cleveland Indians. See the action and coming in and playing that hog with the hands and the accurate throw.
Right on the money to things. One quick out for Justin Bour. Two-run double in the first for Bour. Hughes released by the Pirates, as you see Perez taking over at third base. Hughes signing with the Brewers in the early days of April. Former fourth round draft pick by the Pirates. Plenty of time at Pittsburgh. Last 3 seasons averaged nearly 70 appearances. Two and two on Bour. But Hughes has been very tough, especially lately. Just 1 run his last 11 appearances. Shift is on for Bour. Vogt off of the mask, out of the warning track. 2 outs. We take a look at some defense in this game. Our Grip the Moment, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. And the latest by Arcia. I don't think you're supposed to have that kind of a play as a shortstop defensively, and in the same game go right center field for a home run.
That's the total package. Reason why a lot of people, and especially scouts, are talking about this young shortstop.
Prado out towards center field. A long run. Broxton having to chase it down. Prado's second double today. It's only the 3rd hit in the last 12 outings against Hughes. Two-out base runner for Real Muto. Most hits among all major league catchers. He has been one of the best road hitters in the game this year. Hitting .352 away from Marlins Park. 3rd highest road average, but looking for his first hit today.
And you wonder, Aaron, if this is a catcher, especially with the Summer Classic down in Miami, if he will be added onto that All-Star team. His numbers merit that. Pretty nice to play in front of the home crowd.
Safe to say maybe Buster Posey will be starting that one for the National League.
I would say that's a safe bet, especially the way he is hitting the baseball.
The 1-1. Gobbled up by Arcia. And that ends the top of the 8th. We go to the home half. The Marlins 8-4. Eric Thames will lead things off for the Brew Crew. The first place Brewers. They'll be followed by Ryan Braun, then Travis Shaw. They have the shift on right away for Thames. Zawa back out there for his second inning of work. Pitched a scoreless 7th. Well, so far so good today for Thames after 2 days off to clear his head. 1 for 3, a walk as well. Opposite way single. Along the lines of the home run ball, as many of you have probably seen. Yesterday we saw the record-setting home run. It came off the bat of Justin Smoke. This baseman who very well could start the All-Star game. We'll find out tonight. More home runs in the month of June this year than any single month in Major League history. Out the opposite way. Ozuna near the wall, able to flag it down. Loud out number 1. Didn't miss that one by much. There is Braun. Brewers are trailing only the Astros in terms of home runs this year. It's worth noting the month of May, the 3rd most home runs in any month in Major League history. So it is not like this was only a June thing.
It's incredible. You know, the balls are flying out of the ballpark, but that's a philosophy for a lot of teams, trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark no matter when.
Now, Braun right now sitting on 9 homers. when he hits his 10th, that will give the Brewers 6 different players with double-digit home runs. Look around the grand scheme of things around the majors. Over a third of all teams already have 5 players with double-digit homers. And VR has 8. Two balls and a strike.
Well, the interesting question for this club, I would say they're probably ahead of where they thought they were going to be with the younger players on this roster, is what, if anything, will they do at the trading deadline?
Now the idea of sticking with the rebuilding plan.
Yeah, that's something that's fairly tricky when you have clubs like this that are relying on younger players, giving opportunity for a lot of guys, but they put themselves in position. And I know Craig Counsell knows that you have to give a little bit of some trading deadline around to give some credit to the guys that have put them in this position like this.
Zawa retires the first 2. I'll face Jesus Aguilar. Coming off the bench. Found the cleanup spot. Perez took over at third. Aguilar second in the majors with 11 pinch hits, just one behind a man in the other dugout. That is Ichiro. Aguilar turning 27 years old yesterday. He looks at strike 1.
Oh, he's forced the hand of Craig Counsell to give him more playing time because the way he has swung the bat. See the pinch hitting stats, but when he gets starts as well, hits the ball very hard.
In a fantastic month of May, hit nearly .330 that month with 4 of his 7 home runs. Two outs, nobody on. The 1-1 from Tazawa. Out off towards right field. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Tazawa pitching well since taking over the 7th, but he has had a tough go of it lately. Aguilar holds back a full count.
Well, Aaron, you said it, with this tough schedule that the Marlins have leading into this All-Star game and the break for many of them. Tom Kohler's effort today, inning in 2/3. That's going to tax a bullpen even further. That has lasting effects, not only for today, but tomorrow and even the rest of the week.
Tazawa able to get Aguilar his 3rd strikeout in 2 innings of relief. Well, Fox kicks off your July 4th weekend with powerhouse Aaron Judge providing the fireworks as the Yankees take on the Astros. That's going on right now over on Fox. Check out your local listings to find that one. Good one to check out once this one is in the books. That is a fine series. A lot of young stars in that one. Oliver Drake, the new pitcher for the Brewers, facing JT Riddle out of Worcester, Mass. He pours in a strike to start his afternoon.
Yeah, really loves the fastball split finger combination. See him with that split finger grip as he goes into the glove.
Acquired by the Orioles, or from the Orioles, I should say, in mid-April. You can see the grip. Riddle will walk his last plate appearance, looking for his first hit on the afternoon. Drake, a former 43rd round draft pick by the Orioles. Those guys don't normally get here.
No, and you love that success story. And down goes Riddle on the split finger.
2 outs left for the Marlins.
A former closer in the minor leagues, and getting here has a lot to do with an out pitch. That split finger is what he falls in love with.
First at bat for Derek Dietrich. Really struggled in the month of May. Hit beneath 220. Hit nearly 280 in June. Drake strike one to each of the first 2 men. Now for the Brewers, they are on their way to winning their 3rd in a row. Meanwhile, for the Marlins, this would be their 4th consecutive loss. They would drop to 9 games under 500 on the road. And we talked earlier about the 10-game road trip that the Marlins are on the initial stages of, leading into the All-Star break, and for a team that has really struggled away from their home ballpark, this could be a tough trip to try to get some momentum going into the All-Star break.
Well, the importance too, Aaron, of what direction this team goes as well. Touched on the Brewers and possibly being adders, but you think about where Mattingly sits with this roster. The sale of the team is lingering around them, but also the talent on this team and what direction they're going to go.
The R up to his right a couple of steps. Out number 2. Well, with 1 out to go, a chance to see Ichiro. A major league best 12 pinch hits on the season. Last year, joining the 3,000 hit club, that was a triple at Coors Field. Ichiro now 2 hits shy of tying Rod Carew for 24th all time. Brewers will have a chance for a series sweep tomorrow. An appeal, he goes. Marlins down to their final strike. Well, Mark, as we look on this one here today in Milwaukee for the Marlins, this is really two teams that came in trending in these directions, and what we've seen today, they are continuing down both paths, it seems like.
I agree, and what I marvel about, obviously, the situation Don Mattingly is in the Marlins, but this young shortstop and these young players for the Milwaukee Brewers, and what direction they're going, developing and getting opportunities at the big leagues level.
Speaking of young players, Arcia once again. Thames able to keep the anchor on first, and that is your ball game. Don Mattingly is giving the Heisman over inside of the dugout. We will see if they want to take a look at this or not.
Now, looks like he maintains it there.
There will be no challenge by the Marlins as the Brewers win. They have won this series. Milwaukee has won 3 straight. The Marlins have dropped 4 in a row. And the Brewers doing what they do best. They hit a couple of big home runs in this game, and they scored 8 runs to double up the Marlins. Well, time to go back to Los Angeles, back to our FS1 studio. Kevin Burkhardt is standing by. He'll take you the rest of the way. KB, it's all yours.